morning, everybody. Welcome to morning meeting. Today we have George, our wood turtle ambassador, with us. I apologize for the delay this morning. We had some technical difficulties, but now we're here. So as always, let me know where you guys are tuning in from today. If you guys have any questions, I'd certainly love to answer them. Otherwise, we're going to let George get his PT and his walk and walk around and explore this morning. So George is a wood turtle. So I'm actually going to flip the camera so it's a little bit easier for you guys to see. So he has this beautiful orange coloration on his skin, as well as under his limbs as well. So he is native to Maine, but he is one of our 5 species here in Maine. We do have 7 in total, but 5 unfortunately are not doing very well in the wild. So he is one of them. Hello. Good morning, Tiffany. He is very, very cute. He's still actually getting used to human interaction right now, Tiffany. So George is one of our newer ambassadors. Because of COVID, things have made it a little bit wonky for him. But George's story, as you can see as he's walking around, he doesn't have either of his front 2 limbs. So George has a pretty unique and special story. So you can see right here, he has the crack in his shell. And so that was his initial injury. We believe he was probably hit by a car. And we believe he is about 20 or so years old at this point. So he had been hit by a car and at some point in his life kidnapped out of the wild and belonged to someone for a while illegally, because these guys are not doing well. They are protected, and so it is illegal to have them. They do need a lot of special permitting and stuff like that. So he was in this classroom for a while, and then he was rendered to us with the crack in his shell and that one front left limb missing. And then we had him for, I want to say 8 months, 10 months or so. We were working with Fish and Wildlife, Unity College, a lot of different agencies to see if we could get George back out into the wild. Because they are threatened. We wanted to give him the best chance to go back out. We know from his size that he was a pretty good dad in the wild. Not in terms of helping raise, because of course turtles never meet their parents. But like in some bigger predators like lions and tigers and stuff like that, the larger males are the ones that have more young. And he's quite large for a wood turtle. So we believe he was a very great father in the wild, and helping the population grow. Except, unfortunately, when we did release him, he was part of a study with Unity College, which was really cool. They essentially glued a little tracker onto him, and they would use radio tracking to find him every so often. And even though he was missing his front left limb, he actually moved more than any wood turtle in the entire study. So as you can see, he gets around quite well despite his disability. Unfortunately, when they found him after about 4 or 5 months in the wild, they did find him missing his other front limb. So that is when he was brought back to us to become an ambassador, because he now has 2 little nubs and not just 1. But it's actually pretty common for wood turtles in the wild to be missing one of their limbs, which I didn't know until we got George. But that is his story, and so he will hopefully live to be into his 40s or 50s at least, maybe 60s. And we believe he's about 20 or so right now. So he's still getting used to people. He did spend 20 years in the wild, so it makes sense. So he's enjoying his PT walks and getting around, and getting used to being around humans. He will be in our nature center in our new building, which is really, really exciting. We do actually have right now our reptile, like a housewarming party going on for our reptiles. Because our nature center is so close to being done. We're hoping to be in the new building very, very soon with our nature center open. However, the last piece of that is requiring us to give them their new homes and their new tanks and all the furnishings that they need. Right now, like our water filters that we have in our tanks really aren't the best for what our reptiles need. For George and our paintids and Percy, our spotted turtle. So we do have an Amazon wish list right now for our reptiles in our nature center to help us complete their tanks. We're really excited. Portland Glass is helping us by donating with making the tanks, but we are really excited to get them into their new home very soon. So George has been learning to trust humans over the last several months, since he became an ambassador earlier in the spring, of course, right when COVID was really starting. We're really excited to have him in the new nature center so he can see everyone and get used to people. You're quite handsome, George. Good morning, Chuck from Rhode Island. Yeah, he definitely has had quite the adventure, Tiffany. You can see he does not let his disability get in his way. They are one of our larger species. Obviously compared to like our painted spotteds. If you guys saw Percy in Facebook Live the other day, he is one of our smallest species that we have around here. Full grown, they're just pretty small. George is just about fully grown. Of course, reptiles do constantly grow. When they're hatchlings, they will grow very fast, and then they will slow down as they get older. But you can see on George, just like our wood turtles, all those little rings in his scoots. If he'll stay still for a second. I know. So you can see that middle point of the scoot, so that's what we call all these little puzzle pieces. And from there, they grow essentially like tree rings. So they do grow as they get older, and we can count them just like trees. And that's kind of, we have a guess on how old he is. Sometimes it can be a little bit harder to read them under a microscope, but they do shed them usually about once a year or so. We can put them under a microscope and count them, which is really cool. All these little puzzle pieces are actually made of the same stuff our hair and our fingernails are made of, called keratin. And so it's just like our fingernails and our hair. And so our turtles can actually feel when we touch their shell. So he can feel all of this. Where are you going? Bye, George. So he can feel when we touch them. It's just like us running our fingers along our fingernail. We can feel that. So we do like to give them like little hard bristly scrubs to rub against for enrichment, which is really fun. You like the leaves, George, sitting in the sun? You are so handsome. Yeah. So cute. This weather has been quite wonderful for our reptiles. They've been getting out to go on walks, and we normally wouldn't be able to at this point in the year. So George is very happy to be able to spend some more time outside before he has to come in during the winter time. At this point, all of our reptiles, besides George, are living full-time inside, and we did take like the painted tank down and cleaned it out, because it's really too cold for the painteds to be swimming around, even though they would love to be in there. But the painteds and Percy, our fully aquatic turtles, will go on walks, as well as Zipper. And then the box turtles and George will come out to their outdoor enclosures probably right after this morning, so we can get some sun and relax and enjoy it while we can, because even though I know it's not supposed to be this warm in November, I know our friends are certainly enjoying a little treat. I know, George. There's no treats for you today, though. So he is an omnivore, just like us. So he actually gets a pretty similar diet to what our box turtles get. So he'll get some shredded greens, like either kale, Swiss chard, dandelion, something like that. Some shredded carrots or squash, sweet potato, zucchini. He'll get, or carrot, some of that. He'll get a tablespoon of shredded veggies. And then a tablespoon of fruit, whether that's different berries like blueberries, apples, raspberries, strawberries. Some tomato, which George really, really enjoys. It's one of his favorite parts of his salad. And then as well as some protein. So sometimes that's fish, mice, bugs, like crickets, worms, mealworms. George really likes bloodworms as well, so we'll give him some of those. So they do eat lots of different things. So he eats all the same food groups we do to keep him nice and healthy. Are you burying yourself in the leaves? That's very cute. I know you can't see me. Sure. I know. That's why I put a huge pile of leaves in his outside enclosure that he can do exactly this and run around and play in, get some exercise. You never imagine a turtle needing, or reptile in general, needing exercise, but they really do, just like us. Especially because of his disability, we want to make sure that he can still get around really well, and make sure he can get around his enclosure, but as well as on his walks to see what he can do. You're stuck. Let me help. Let me help. You're stuck on the branch. There you go. Yes, excellent camouflage, Tiffany. There you go. Woo! Bye, George. And so we do give him walks when we can, especially on a nice day like today. Of course, we do take very good close watch of our ambassadors, their diets and their weights. We want them to live with us as long as possible. We want to make sure they're nice and healthy. Just like ourselves, we need to make sure that they're eating the right amount of food and that they're getting their exercise that they need. Because of course, just like humans, if they do start to put on too much weight, more weight than they're supposed to, it's going to impact their lifespan and their quality of life, just like us. So we do make sure that George gets these little walks to make sure that he's still getting around and building up that muscle. Because of his disability especially, we want to make sure that he doesn't get a little chunky or anything like that. Because he was in the wild so long, he's pretty good about regulating himself. A lot of reptiles are pretty good at it. Some of our ambassadors that have been with us for a really long time, or were pets, aren't as good at it. But George, because he was in the wild for so long, he's pretty good at making sure he's getting the right amount of food. 'Cause over the last couple weeks it was so cold. We are trying to still give him a little bit of food before he does come inside once we are in the nature center next door. And he was like, "It's cold." Like, no, I should be underground right now. Good morning, Naomi from Rhode Island. Welcome this morning. As our turtles and our snakes and our amphibians. So if you see one out, or you have seen one in the last couple days, it is because of the little warm spell. They should be going back underground again very, very soon. Of course, with cooling temperatures, their bodies essentially shut down. They don't truly hibernate. We only actually have a couple true hibernators here. But they do brumate, which is very similar to hibernation. So their body slows down. They don't really move. They don't eat. They just kind of rest through the winter. So he knows exactly what he's doing, even though we try to nudge him to do otherwise. But when it is cold, they're not really going to move, and sometimes that's when you see reptiles that have, or amphibians as well, that have been kind of cold shocked. Right now, especially for those of our friends down near on the coast, and especially down in Cape Cod, they are seeing cold shocked sea turtles getting stranded because of when they do get very cold very quickly. Their bodies essentially just stop. So that is a pretty common thing here on the coast that we do see, and we can always call different rescue groups to help them out, just to warm up so that they can be active again. But of course, you never want to approach a wild animal, especially a wild turtle. It's on the beach. If you can see it from like 50, 100 yards away, you should definitely just call the police or another rescue group near you. Because it does certainly happen where they get shell shocked or they get cold shocked and kind of just get stuck where they are. What do you think, George? Can I get a close up of you without you biting me? You're so handsome. You got a leaf stuck. What do you think? You like your exercise? Like, yeah, this is cool. So handsome. This coloration is absolutely beautiful, all that orange on him. Bye, George. Unlike the wood turtles, who have those very different shells between the males and the females, the wood turtles do look basically the same. Male-female is a little bit of difference, but they're still going to have like that drabby shell and then the orange skin. Where are you going? You get around so well, George. We're so proud of you. Like, I do what I want. Hi. You're so cute. Good morning, Priscilla. Welcome. Say hello, George. I'm an independent turtle. I go where I want. Where are you going? Please don't bite my foot. Hi. Here, I'll move and get out of your way. There you go. Hello. Bye, George. So from looking at George, you can tell that he is a semi-aquatic species, meaning he can easily get around on land, just like you guys are seeing right now. He doesn't really have too much of a problem, despite his disabilities. But they are aquatic. You can tell from his shell shape. And so that shell is relatively flat, unlike like our box turtles that have that huge dome. What do you think? You like the leaves? That's how you can tell he's semi-aquatic. He has that flat shell, so he can swim faster. He's more hydrodynamic, so he can swim really fast. He has little webbed feet. At least George has them on, of course, his back feet. Just his little nubs in the front. Oh, there you go. George, you are so precious right now. Like, this is fun. Do you like the leaves? Our reptiles in general respond really well to environmental enrichment. And so, like, our turtles and our snakes will put new plants in their enclosures and move stuff around, give them new substrates. Like where Bertram or Violet may really like new toys or something like that. our reptiles really enjoy new substrates, new plants. So this is part of what George really loves, just sitting in this pile of leaves, which who doesn't love to do in the fall. And we'll give him different substrates in his enclosure, so a mixture of like wood chips, sand, rocks, pebbles, different plants that we can give him, different offerings. So we do try to mix it up for them, because clearly George is living his absolute best life right now, sitting in a pile of leaves. It's like we all love to do in the fall as well. George, you are so handsome. I will mention that, again, we will be in our new nature center very, very soon. So we're hoping to have the center open very, very soon, the nature center at least. But we do certainly need all of your help. One of the last parts of that is getting the homes ready for our new tanks for all our reptile ambassadors who will be living in our nature center. So you can find it at the top of our Facebook page. It should be one of the pinned posts. Or for those of you that saw Percy's Facebook Live the other day, the Amazon wish list is also on there. But anything you guys can help with helping us create their new homes and their enclosures and really giving them the setups that they really deserve to have. We're really excited, and any help that you guys can give us, we would be just incredibly, super, super grateful. Between water filters and having the right pH readers and being able to change that water, like George and Percy, for example, don't really prefer like normal tap water. Percy especially really wants his to be more acidic because of where he would normally be living. He'd be living in a vernal pool, which does have decaying leaves in it, and as the leaves decay, it makes the water more acidic. So being able to offer all of that to them in their brand new homes very, very soon. We are just so excited for them. And give you a whole new place to run around in. Right, George? I agree, Tiffany. It's so cute. You're such a handsome man, George. Right. Awesome. Well, it is that time this morning. I do apologize again for being a little bit late this morning. We had some difficulties this morning. But as always, thank you guys so much for tuning in and hanging out with us this morning. And we will see you guys tomorrow at 10. Have a great day, everybody. Hey, bye, George. I know the light is not very good for you right now. I'm trying to get a good picture of you. Like, no. Bye, George. Have a great day, everybody.